Can you hear us, Dustin?
Yep, got both of you.
Yep. Yeah. How's it going?
Doing good.
Good. Yeah. So I mean, we this is my friend Danny's helping me out now with the podcast.
Oh, I forget.
So yeah, I just wanted to ask you, Dustin. I mean, for you, you're a first recurring guest. I wanted to ask you how spring training's going for you personally. I've been keeping up with your stats. I'm sure Dan has too. I mean, how's it been going in terms of you're on the field and also off the field being in the new clubhouse?
It's been going good. This team's full of a bunch of good guys, man, and then just getting to know all the pitching staff's been the biggest thing for spring training so far. Haven't gotten a hit in a few games, but it is what it is with spring training. But so far, learning the guys, learning the routine of the guys at least has been the biggest part for me.
And for you, I wanted to ask with this whole, epidemic thing going on. I'm not big with the whole coronavirus stuff, but for you guys, I know one of our guys, Jake Fraley over with the Mariners, they just announced that they're not going to have their first two home series in March at home in Seattle. For you, if something were to happen like that in Houston or, wherever you're going without fans or having to move places, how much would that impact you on the field? I'm not sure if you're a guy that kind of, plays off of, the fans and the emotion of the game from outside. I mean, is that something that really affects you on the field?
It would be definitely, man, it'd definitely be weird. We saw a game a few years back when the Orioles played and they had their stadium emptied out. And it seemed really weird watching that game. So I would think it'd be a lot of like spring training because there's not as many fans.
Yeah.
But even in spring training, it gets loud.
What I said, it's going to throw off like complete things about the game. I mean, I played Division III baseball, and of course, are tens of fans that show up.
Yeah. Like minor league games too.
So I mean, I said it's like the walk-up songs are going to be a little louder, the crack of the bat's more pure, but like it's the idea, like you still expect the roar of the crowd, and like those things are still a part of the game where like you feed off of those things as opposed to like it's just silence. Like you can sit and catch a bullpen or sit and hit BP like in silence. Like yeah, it's a kind of a mundane thing, but when it's game time, like that's another thing that just kind of adds into it. And if you lose it, like it throws you, you could throw you off a little bit.
Yeah, it's gonna be a learning experience, especially if we have to go through it. It's just gonna be something that we're gonna have to learn on the fly kind of deal. I mean, I don't think it's gonna be that big of a deal. It just probably won't be the adrenaline factor that we usually get to play with when you play in front of huge crowds that are either booing you or cheering you.
And for that, I mean, as a catcher, I know you mentioned working with the guys so far. I mean, how's it been going in terms of just the overall, getting to know the pitchers, getting to know their sequences, what they like to throw, when they like to throw it. I mean, how's that been going for you? I know you've been in a few clubhouses, so I'm sure you're used to it. But at the same time, I mean, do you feel that you're comfortable with the guys yet? Is it going to take to the end of spring training? I mean, when are you going to feel fully comfortable? Making sure when to call what pitchers and what they like to go to in certain counts.
I'm starting to get more comfortable actually with the whole staff, and then during season it's another change too from spring training to where we'll have all our scouting reports for the season. We're gonna have all our pitch usages for the guys, and they're gonna have scout reports for the other batters. So all that stuff comes in more depth when season starts. Right now it's kind of guys establishing what they have, their fastballs, curveballs, and sliders, whatever else, and getting a feel and getting to where they have their strength bat going into the season. And then when season comes around, that's when all the fun happens with all those scouting reports and stuff like that.
And for you, with the scouting reports, is that something that you really look at during spring training? Just because, it's not 25, 20, well, now 26 guys, but it's not, there's so many guys. I mean, you can't really look at everything. Your head would probably blow up if you're trying to read a scouting report on every single guy that's in spring training. I mean, are you just kind of going out there? I mean, this spring training, just having fun with the guys and, taking it all in?
Kind of, and then we have right now they're keeping it simple to where we have scouting reports for the 9 batters against our starting pitchers.
Okay.
So I kind of have that going into it, and then I just use that for my next guys that come in, basically like a regular game, to where I call what I see, and then I go for my relievers the same way. But in season, every guy will have their individualized scouting reports, so we'll have more of an idea of what to actually use per relievers. So when they come in the dugout, I'll have a better idea. But right now, it's just starting pitcher against their starting 9.
God, Gotcha. So, like, I mean, of course you got to memorize these scouting reports or whatever. Like, are you a band guy? Like, do you throw a band on your forearm for these things? Or
Yeah, I've been using that for a few years now. I like that one.
Yeah, see, that's what, because, you know, like with pitch calling or scouting reports on that, you know, you got like red zones, whatever you want to, however your bands are set up. I mean, of course, it's like those things are extremely like impactful, and like even this year, like if for pace of play sake, like in at least in Division III or in college baseball now, like pitchers can have these bands. Like in softball, like you know, like to like speed up the game. So I mean, like a couple of our pitchers on our team, you know, love to work fast. Like these guys, you know, get the ball, like next pitch 8 seconds, right on the dot, things like that. And like if we can incorporate, you know, calling our plays or our pitches, and the pitcher's reading it, catcher's reading it, not even have to throw down a sign. I mean, that could be something that's pretty cool if it got thrown into the MLB, I think, for, like, you know, the sake of this whole pace of play stuff that we're constantly talking about. I mean, I think that would be, and it's, you know, for those reasons, that would be, you know, you'd be able to, I mean, cross-ups might happen a little bit more, but, you know, you misread a sign or a pitcher misreads a sign. But, I mean, I think that would be a little cool thing to see if that actually happened going up into the majors.
It'd be interesting to use. I know why college uses it, obviously, because a lot of coaches will call the pitches, and then you can kind of relay to both guys, and then they shake or not. But I think in the big leagues, it's more of – it's really hard for an outside source to call a pitch for an inside game when they're on the side if they don't see where the ball is actually placed between the two guys that have thrown and one have caught. Yeah. But if there's talks about like a system to where the pitcher and catcher could use something, then so that would speed something up to where – either in between pitches they can relay to each other, or as the pitcher gets on the mound kind of deal. So that would be interesting to see if they can implement something like that.
Well, yeah, that leads into what's like your like dream scenario. Like, yeah, of course you want your guy just hitting your spots every time, but like what you like a guy that's more like finesse. You know, he's like just his off-speed pitches are just hitting spots, and you know, like the Greg Maddux just let you move out and you're just framing pitches all day long, or like you a guy that just like, you know, sit right on the inside or outside and let him just peg a spot.
For me, it's starting pitchers or relievers pretty much. I don't mind starters that don't throw as hard to get through lineups, because it's fun to call a game with a guy who's got 4 pitches against the lineup. Now, obviously, if I'm getting a guy like Verlander who's got some plus stuff, you can go with a few less pitches, given he's got 4 himself. But when guys come in, like say in the bullpens nowadays, we're not looking to put balls in play. I want strikeouts and guys who have big arms and big sliders and curveballs. That's kind of where we want to go. So you get away from the air. You can't have an error if the ball doesn't get put in play. You can't get hits if the ball doesn't get put in play. So punch outs are a big thing.
Yeah, of course. I mean, a big thing with us, you know, with our pitchers, you know, the Rapsodo numbers, you know.
Oh, yeah.
We got one of those, and, you know, we love our, you know, spin rates and spin efficiencies and stuff like that. So I know the whole slider deal, because, like, that's the one thing our pitchers been working on, you know, getting those vertical breaks on those sliders. And, like, they've been improving on it, because we're getting diced up sometimes. But, I mean, what, like, do you have any, like, big expectations for yourself this season, or, you know,
Come on, Dan. We got the biggest expectations. We're his number one fan.
No, I want to know his. You know, like, it's fun to dissect what they got. It's, you know, like, I get asked that every time. You know, like, I mean, I can go in the, you know, nooks and crannies about baseball, you know, on my level, and try to pick his brain about those things, about pressing at the plate or something like that. But I just, I mean, I wouldn't want to bore people with, you know, completely boring baseball talk. You know, give him his platform to talk about what he wants to get out of this season for himself.
I think basically showing up every day prepared defensively to where my guys trust me that I can call a game and do what I have to do behind the plate to get them through games, to get guys out. And then offensively to have productive at bats, square the ball up and drive the ball a little bit. Basically, like with this lineup, me hitting the 9-hole, the more I get on base, those guys at the top of the lineup can actually absolutely bang the baseball around. So that's a huge deal for us.
And I know for you, you know, we talked in the summer about, you know, kind of you changing up the stance and whatnot. And obviously that was producing obviously more hits and stuff for you on the field. I mean, is there anything you kind of tweak this off season? I know back then, you were still refining stuff, and I mean, it was showing on the field. I mean, how's it been going on the offense side of the ball? I know we've been talking a lot about the defense, but how comfortable are you, just with the hitting aspect, with your new stance and everything?
It's been feeling good. There's always tweaks that are going to happen, especially for me. I'm trying to learn as much as I can because I'm not a perennial powerhouse in the slugging department. So I'm trying to learn as much
Dan
as I can.
is.
Yeah.
I'm the biggest tinkerer when it comes to my swing. I mean, the last couple of weeks hasn't felt like I swung the same way twice. I mean,
that's it, man. That's the same with me. The last 3 or 4 games I've had that. So now it's getting past my hiccup that I've had right now. So I know what I was doing good before, what I'm doing bad now. I can kind of stay away or tinker around that to get back to feeling good.
And the clubhouse for you, I know, you've been a veteran, you've been around, so many different clubhouses and everything. For you, being in the clubhouse, obviously a lot of young guys, a lot of, media attention drawn to the team this year. Your presence, in the locker room, having that experience, and being a veteran now instead of, a young guy coming into a locker room who maybe would have been a little more shy and, a little more hesitant. How have you been, being a veteran and, being one of the older guys, just, giving tips and, kind of, being a leader of this clubhouse, just with your experience?
It's a little different over here because all these guys have veteran experience for what they've gone through the last 3 or 4 years, being in the playoffs and World Series every year. So me coming in, I don't feel like I have to say basically anything. Like if the guys come to me, then I'll have something for them. But right now, it's not my part to go out and tell guys how to act or do when these guys have been in places that I haven't been yet. So I can't. For me, it's the whole thing of like guys getting too comfortable too early in a team that they don't know. So for me, it's still earning the trust of the guys in the clubhouse before all that stuff happens.
Now, for you, obviously, you've caught some great guys. How cool is it to catch Justin Verlander in a bullpen or in the game? I mean, just the stuff he has. I mean, I have to ask, how excited were you looking forward? I know when you signed, I believe back it was in November, I congratulated you and everything, but I wanted to ask you now, being there, how cool is it to catch some of these guys, specifically him? And I know you got some cool guys, prospects like Forrest Whitley and whatnot. I mean, you guys are just stacked with prospects and pitching. How's it been going so far with them?
It's going good. Obviously, catching Verlander was a huge deal for me. That guy's going to be a Hall of Famer, so learning how to go about to get on page with him, and then showing up, the guy. I understand why he's been so good. He is very meticulous. More than probably any pitcher I've ever seen in his bullpens. And then his game day, like his first game he threw out here, I caught against him. He had a scouting report for all 9 guys in the lineup. And there was probably only 6 big leaguers, five or six big leaguers in the lineup. So he had scouting reports and the minor league guys that were facing him, and he was ready to roll. So being able to show up to that, like, all right, this guy, there's a reason he's one of the best in the game, given he's got his God-given talents of what he can throw. But up top and up between the ears, he's probably second to none.
And Dan, did you have something, or it looked like you were moving the mouth there?
No, I just I just watch whenever I watch a pitch. It's kind of amazing. That's all. I mean, it's just I couldn't imagine stepping in the box or even being able to catch him, which is like, I mean, I'm sure it feels like an honor every time.
Yeah, it's just pretty fun.
And for you, no, I just wanted to say, I know I told you like 10 to 15 minutes, and I want to just thank you for your time. Last question I wanted to ask you. I don't know if you have any more, Dan. But I just wanted to ask you, Dustin, before we let you go, who have been some of the closer guys you've gotten to, obviously, I know you got your family and everything. I'm not sure if they're there right now or if they, come out here or there just to, see you on the weekends or whatnot. Who's kind of been, the guys you've been gravitating towards the most and, have been building these connections with? I'm sure it's been everyone, but is there anyone in particular that you've been near most of the time?
Yeah, this clubhouse has been very open arms, man. Once I signed, I had guys that were texting me saying congrats and welcome to the team and stuff. So I can literally say everybody in that clubhouse has been very open armed and very welcoming for me. Then I talked to Drew Springer a lot, actually. He's a very, very down to earth, cool guy, man. Him and Stubbs, so we're catching all the time. So I'm talking to him. So just talking to, Springer's one of the better dudes I've been around, just how down to earth and really, really good dude he is.
All right, cool. Yeah, so I just wanted to, I know you guys, I think you guys have an off day tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
Now, will you, go to the field, get some reps in, or, spring training, coming down the pipeline? Are you going to take an off day? I mean, what's kind of been going for you in terms of, I know you said you've been in the hitting slump, but I mean, what's kind of your preparation, going into, the last few spring training games that I'm sure you're going to be a part of as, off days here and there, getting ready for the season?
Probably taking tomorrow off completely. There's the pitchers there when they're on their rotations and plants. There's a few guys that'll be going and throwing, but for the most part, they tell us to stay off the field, get away from here, and they kind of shut the doors on us if they can.
Has your family been able to come out to spring training at all?
No, they're going to be at the opening series in Houston. It's too far for her and the boys to come.
Yeah. You guys are home for a series, right?
Yeah, we have 2 exhibition games against Cleveland and an off day, then the home series against the Angels.
Cool. Expedition at Minute Maid?
Yeah, 2 games.
Cool. What is there any specific reason why you guys are doing that this year? I mean,
there's a lot of teams that are doing exhibition games. Yeah. Obviously, the Dodgers do it with the Angels and Oakland and San Fran, but this year we're playing Cleveland, and I think more teams are starting to do that a little more.
All right, and Angels home opener?
Yeah, home open series against them.
You're gonna have a little extra juice going against them. I know you played for them.
I can't say I'm not. How about that?
All right, good. Yeah, so thanks for coming on, Dustin. Best of luck. I know we've talked in the past. Thanks for coming on again, and we wish you all the best. I'm sure Dan wishes you the best too.
Crush it this year.
Yeah,
thank you.
Best of luck to you.
Best of luck to you.
Back on, man.
And yeah, just thanks. Hope to talk soon, and just keep on staying healthy and keep on going.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Dustin.
No problem. See you.
Awesome stuff. We got Dustin Garneau on the podcast again. Houston Astros catcher. Absolute pleasure to have him on. First recurring guest in podcast. Great to have him on. Great to talk to him. And thanks for Dan coming on too. Part segment. We have half with Dustin, half with Dan. And Dan joined us for the part with Dustin too. So me and Dan were in all of it. And then Dustin came on. Unfortunately, I couldn't get the FaceTime going with 3 people on the screen, so we couldn't see him. Had to do it on the phone, so we just got the audio, which obviously you know by now by listening. So just thanks for listening to everything that we've been doing so far. Thanks for all the supporters out there, and best of luck to Dustin and the Astros this year.